Is intuitive eating even a real thing? If you asked me that question 15 years ago, I would definitely say no. Because back 15 years ago, I was eating every carb and any carb, and I loved it. But there was no way I could intuitively eat. I overate at every single meal without fail. I literally could not stop eating. I love the taste of food. I was a huge foodie. I would love going out to eat. I would love getting all the carbs, all the fat, all of the meats, everything. I just loved it all, and I had no governor. I couldn't stop. And I think a lot of this stemmed from when I was younger. I would love spaghetti and meatball night at my parents' house when I was like 10 years old, and I would load up on the carbs and the pasta. I would load up on the garlic bread. I would shy away from the salad. Even the meatballs, they didn't matter. It was the sauce and the pasta and the bread. And every single time I would eat that meal, it would taste so good. I wouldn't be able to stop, and I would be super stuffed and full, ready for a nap, laying on the couch, couldn't move, stomach was hurting every single time. And I would ask myself, even as a child, why do I do this to myself? There was no intuitive eating back then. Fast forward to 2013, 10 years ago, where I was 28 and I found the low carb lifestyle, which I had never even knew was a thing. And not only that, I never even knew that it would be something that would work for me. However, I saw my sister get really good results doing this diet, so I grabbed the book too. I found the low carb lifestyle in the form of this book. This is the 100 by Jorge Cruz, and I did the meal plan in this book, lost 45 pounds in 2.5 months in 2013 when I was trying to lose weight for my wedding. This changed my entire life and changed how I viewed food, and it also changed how I felt after I ate. Low carb was this magical lifestyle that worked for me. Back in 2013, I had no idea that it was gonna turn into a lifestyle. I just thought, oh, I'll do another crash diet and I'll lose weight and I'll see what happens. Little did I know that this was going to revolutionize how I felt after I ate, my intuitive eating, and how I was able to create that into a thing. So is intuitive eating real? Yeah, but you have to find what works for you. And I'm gonna share my story today. But again, it was just the carbs that was holding me back. In hindsight, I'm thinking I had a pretty big carb sensitivity, which I still have now. If I was to eat anything in excess, garlic bread and pasta and the meals that I used to eat all the time, I'd be on the floor, stuffed and full. My stomach would be hurting. I would just want to go and take a nap, and it would be so super uncomfortable. So I realized a couple of things about me, and it all came from this book, which is linked in the description box of every single video that I have here on YouTube, because this meal plan changed my life. But in this book, you really aren't eating much carbs and you're eating healthy food. For me, once I started filling up on the healthy stuff, meaning vegetables, meat, dairy, in this case for this meal plan, my whole way of eating changed, completely changed. And all it took was swapping out some of the higher carb things on my plate and taking them out of here and replacing them with more vegetables or more protein or adding some dairy. And to me, it completely revolutionized how I feel after I eat my meals. And it's something so easy as making my meat sauce with either ground beef or ground turkey with the marinara sauce, and then instead of serving that over traditional pasta, I was serving it over hearts of palm noodles, and maybe skipping the bread and instead adding the side salad. So now I've got a big bowl of pasta with hearts of palm noodles, a big side salad. I would eat, feel satisfied, not wanna push it. Sometimes I don't even finish the food on my plate because I'm just satisfied, I'm full. I'm not wanting to just keep shoveling into my mouth. I was able to be intuitive about all of the food that I was eating. And for me, the biggest difference was incorporating the low carb lifestyle. That did it for me. Then I was able to say, oh, I get it. I can fill up on healthy food and feel satisfied and full, not blah and stuffed. It was a completely different way of feeling after I was eating, and it was something that I had craved my entire life. But again, most people, we just eat carbs at our meals and don't even think anything of it. But for me, with such a carb sensitivity, it made the biggest difference when I went to the low carb lifestyle. So also what used to happen to me is if I was eating a lot of carbs during my meals, number one, I couldn't stop, but then I would also be hungry a half an hour after I ate. which is wild considering I was just sitting at the table ready to burst because I was so full. And then my hunger pains would come back not long after I finished eating. So then what happens? Unnecessary snacking. So not only am I filling up and stuffing myself at dinner time or at mealtime, but then I was wanting to snack right afterwards. So it was just a recipe for an unhealthy relationship, not only with food, but with my weight. And I knew something had to change. I didn't know what until I found low carb. But then once I switched over to low carb, I started upping my protein, which kept me fuller for longer. And then I wasn't so prone to snacking. Another thing that I did was make sure that I was super hydrated so that I wasn't searching for food when in reality, I was probably just thirsty. In health class, I remember this was drilled into our heads. I don't know, it's just funny to remember, but the teacher would always say, always drink water, hydrate yourself, because you might not actually be hungry, you might just be thirsty and dehydrated. And for me, I like remember them saying that, but as a 17-year-old, you're like not thinking about that kind of stuff. So fast forward to a couple of years later, I'm like, oh, hydration, that really means something. And I found that when I'm hydrated, I don't snack as much. And it has changed everything when I'm eating low carb and then I'm staying hydrated. So what's the number one way to stay hydrated? Well, having a daily water goal. But what's number two? Incorporating some electrolytes into your day. Electrolytes are so important. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you are moving around and you are sweating it all, you're losing electrolytes. And Element is actually sponsoring today's video. I'm thrilled. So it could be me as a mom. It could be, you know, some professional athlete. It doesn't matter. We all need electrolytes. I've incorporated 1 packet per day to keep me on track, keep me hydrated. But I love Element because it's low carb. So there's between 0 and 2 grams of carbs per packet. I drink 1 packet per day. The science-backed electrolyte ratio is really what gives the maximum hydration. So they include 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium into every single packet right here. And like I said, I take these on the go. I bring them on vacation. There is never a day where I don't hydrate with electrolytes, because if I don't, I'm gonna be dehydrated and I'm going to want to snack, and I don't want to snack because I want to stay on track with my weight loss. So Element is actually offering anybody watching my video a free sample pack with their next order. So all you have to do is go to drinkelement.com/heart. That is drinkelement.com/heart, and you're going to get this sample pack, which includes all 8 of their most popular flavors right now, and you're gonna get to try every single one. You could be a new customer, existing customer, it doesn't matter. Grab your sample pack with every single order that you make. Just make sure you use code HEART, H-A-R-T, and get hydrated. It's a no-brainer. Thank you again to Element for sponsoring today's video. So how can we make intuitive eating a thing? How can we create that in our lives if you don't already have it? So what I do is I eat very balanced meals, and how I do that is I load up on the protein and I load up on the healthy fats. That is, for me, the winning combination for keeping me fuller for a longer time. Because what's worse than eating and being hungry a half hour later? You've got to eat the protein and the healthy fat. The two of those just go hand in hand, not only satisfying your hunger, but then keeping you fuller for longer. For me, it was a total game changer. Then I was able to intuitively eat because I'm eating healthy protein, healthy fat, minimal carbs, veggies, just healthy food overall, and it was really satisfying me, which is a totally different feeling than feeling stuffed. So once I felt like that, it was a lot easier for me to stop when I was full, because now I knew my hunger cues. I knew when I was hungry, I knew when I was dehydrated, I knew when to grab an electrolyte mix, and I knew when to grab some more protein and my actual meal. So you can kind of really get to know your body a lot better when you find a way of eating that works for you. For me, that's low carb. I know that's not gonna be for everyone, but listen to your body. What does your body feel like after you eat? If you feel sluggish and blah and bloated and just, stuffed, think Thanksgiving dinner. Like, think after that. If that's how you feel all the time, maybe think about switching up the foods that you're eating so that you feel more energized, more satisfied versus full, and just better overall after you eat. And you want to stay fuller for longer. So in that case, up the protein, up the healthy fat. So intuitive eating, focus when you're actually eating your meals. Eat slower. I know this is a huge thing that we've also been told a bunch from health class. Eat slowly, chew your food slowly. I know sometimes I eat super fast. Either I'm hungry, I'm excited for the food, or I've got little kids, I'm trying to just eat really quick so I can get back to them. You know, all of that is going to play into this too. focus on what you're eating. And what I started to do was physically take a couple gulps of water before I sat down to eat. Fill your stomach up with a little bit of water, get that going first, then eat your meal. And when you're eating, which I really try to do, I try to be very present with the food that I'm eating. I don't watch my phone, I don't have any TVs on or anything. I'm really just focused on my food. And I've also started doing a little bit of gratitude right before I eat. And I know you're probably thinking like, what does that have to do with intuitive eating? This is all part of it. So just trust me. I will sit down, I will kind of do like a little silent thank you for the food, and then it makes me slow down. Anything I can do to slow myself down from just wolfing down my food, because that also is a part of intuitive eating. We have to change the experience that we're doing to get different results. So in this case, I drink some water, I slow it down a little bit, I say thank you, I'm really grateful for the food I'm eating, I'm thanking the food for nourishing my body. There's been a ton of studies all about how we talk to water and how that water can then influence not only our body but plants. If you guys haven't seen that yet, if I can find it, I will link it down below, like a little short, but it's so important. We need to invoke gratitude in everything that we do, positivity in everything that we do. Saying grace shouldn't just be for Thanksgiving, or saying giving thanks shouldn't just be for Thanksgiving. Let's bring it to every single meal that we eat ever. So I just do this in my head, but again, it makes me slow down. And then while I'm eating, I'm really trying to savor the food, taste the food, enjoy the food, and not eat too fast. When I'm able to do this, I'm able to stretch out eating in 2 minutes to maybe eating my meal over a 10-minute span. My stomach is filling up slowly, I'm engaging in my food, I'm enjoying it, I'm just kind of taking it all in, I'm slowing it all down, and then my stomach is filling up and I'm able to notice it filling up. When you eat something in 2 minutes, and then the next couple minutes you're like, whoa, I'm stuffed. That's not what we want. If you eat slower, your stomach will fill up, you'll be able to notice your hunger cues, your full cues, and all of that is a part of the process. So whatever you need to do to slow yourself down, this is just some things that I do. Also make sure that I've got water with my meal, so I'm drinking water as I'm eating, which is also helping fill up my stomach, and I'm just eating in the right portion size for what I'm trying to do. So if you guys have been following me on my channel, you know that I track my food. I either track it with pen and paper or I track on MyFitnessPal. It makes a big difference because then I know that everything on my plate is accounted for and I know how much I'm eating. So I don't have the chance to overeat because I've got my perfect portion right here. And I know for me now how much of everything that I need to eat to become full and not overeat. So that's all stuff that I've done through tracking. But when we're able to do that and be mindful of the whole eating experience, that helps us stay on track, which intuitive eating can be something you bring into your experience. You just have to be mindful of it. So for me, my intuitive eating really came about once I found a way to eat the foods that help me feel satisfied, not stuffed and full. So once I was able to do that, then I was able to implement all of these things for intuitive eating. So after you watch this video, think about this. What are the things that after I eat them, I sometimes feel sluggish and blah, or I don't feel energized? What are those things? Maybe it's sweets, maybe it's carbs, maybe it's something else. What is that for you? And then make a point to avoid some of those things just for a meal or two. Just see how you feel. Just dabble into this and see if you can create a full satisfied feeling versus the blah stuffed feeling. See if you can recreate that. You'll know when you're doing it. You'll know as soon as you feel good after you eat and you feel satisfied, you will notice a change. So let's see if you can recreate that in your meal plan, and then see if you can implement some of these tips to help you extend your eating period when you're actually sitting down, putting the food in your mouth. Let's see if we can extend that and slow it down a little bit from maybe the tips in this video, or if you have your own tips, let me know down in the comments about how you intuitively eat. And hopefully you will find some success in this. I do think intuitive eating can be a thing, but I think we have to go about it with a strategy. And this is exactly how I implemented intuitive eating into my lifestyle. Thank you again to Element for sponsoring this video. Definitely check them out, as well as all my coaching opportunities down in the description box. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you really soon with the next video. Bye.